Hi, and welcome to the Frog Pond School of Design, where we like to talk about things that have to do with architecture in one way or another. And today, I'd like to talk about an architect that you probably aren't familiar with. His name was Bernard Maybeck, or Bernard Maybeck. I'm not really sure how he pronounced it, but he was a very interesting character. He was born in New York in 1862, I believe it was, and studied at in Paris at the École des Beaux-Arts. Worked a while in New York and Kansas City, and about the age of 30, he settled in the San Francisco area and did most of his work out there. He was a bit of an eccentric. He stood about 5'2" and fairly broad as well. Had a long white pointed beard and wore a beret. So he sort of looked like a gnome and dressed the part. He and his family would dress up for occasions and do their little theatrical things. So he had a reputation as a bit of an eccentric, but he focused his design, regardless of style, on what he said he was looking for: beauty. He was a bit of a nonconformist in his practice as well. He at early part of the 20th century, modernism was rearing its head and becoming a force, and he was sort of going the other way. He was like a counterpoint to Louis Sullivan, where Sullivan was trying to introduce modernism. Maybeck was sticking with the styles. He was comfortable in the craftsman style, arts and crafts, Gothic revival, mission style, and of course Beaux-Arts. His most famous building was probably, you'll recognize this, the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco. Now this had an interesting genesis. It was part of the Panama Pacific International Exposition, which was a world's fair essentially. And the stated purpose of this was to celebrate the completion of the Panama Canal. Others felt it was at least as much an effort to show the world that San Francisco had recovered from the great earthquake that had happened a few years before that. But anyway, Maybeck designed very classic things like that. A lot of his work was residential. He was, again, sort of a nonconformist and didn't care for all the legal trappings of practice, the contracts and that sort of thing. So a lot of his work was residential. He probably did at least 150 homes in the San Francisco area. Very much natural in his approach. He liked unfinished wood exteriors and even interiors for that matter. So his homes became kind of known as a style. Unfortunately, an awful lot of them have succumbed to fire and other issues over the years. But in all, he was really, again, he said he wanted to create beauty, and he was true to himself in that sense. He considered him, let's see, I get all this right. Stayed true to his principles. He considered himself a discriminating participant in the human search for beauty. So that was Bernard Maybeck, one of the lesser known but very much influential and significant architects in U.S. history. So hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for joining us today at the Frog Pond School of Design, and I look forward to seeing you hanging around the pond again real soon.